In the vast, silent architecture of the internet, where lines of code stretch like invisible highways across continents, there exist shadows, figures who move with an unseen grace, their touch altering fortunes, their whispers echoing in the quiet hum of servers. Today, we delve into one such shadow, not a phantom, but a man, a boy, really, who, with the tap of a keyboard, reshaped the very idea of crime. Imagine a kid from Miami, bright, almost incandescently so, not the kind who dreamed of capes and superpowers, but of patterns, of systems, of the hidden logic beneath the surface of everything. This was Albert Gonzalez. In the early 2000s, while most of us were just learning to navigate MySpace or email, Albert was already fluent in the secret language of machines. He saw not just computers, but vulnerabilities, not just networks, but unlocked doors. His story isn't just about breaking into systems. It's about the profound human paradox of brilliance. Twisted, it's about how a mind capable of incredible insight can, in the quiet solitude of a glowing screen, drift into a world without consequence. Albert began small, as many do, teenage skirmishes in the digital playground. But his hunger was different. It wasn't just about showing off. It was about understanding, about mastering, and then it became about profit. Vast, unimaginable profit. He found his tribe online, a community of like-minded individuals operating in the darkest corners of the internet. They called themselves ShadowCrew. Think of it as a black market bazaar, but for stolen identities, credit card numbers, and the tools to commit fraud. Albert, under the handle Nazi, quickly became a kingpin. He built their digital infrastructure, a fortress for illicit trade, a sprawling enterprise that connected criminals across the globe. He was the architect, the strategist, the one who saw the chessboard 3 moves ahead. We're about to dive into the most incredible twist in Albert Gonzalez's story, a betrayal that changed everything. But before we do, if you're hooked on stories like this, the kind that peel back the layers of the unseen world, please take a second to like this video. Drop a comment telling us what you think of ShadowCrew, and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely means a lot to us, and helps us keep telling these complex, human stories. Thank you. But here's the twist, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about crime. While he was building this empire of stolen data, the Secret Service was watching. They weren't just watching, they were recruiting. Albert Gonzalez, the mastermind behind ShadowCrew, became an informant. Imagine that. Living a double life so profound, so utterly audacious, that it beggars belief. He was helping the government dismantle the very kind of network he was simultaneously nurturing. He helped them catch his peers, pointing fingers, providing evidence, and all the while, he was learning their methods, learning their blind spots. It was a dangerous game, played on the knife edge of betrayal. But for Albert, it wasn't just about the thrill, it was about the access, the insights. He was seeing the world from both sides of the digital fence, understanding the vulnerabilities of the financial system with a clarity few legitimate experts could ever hope to achieve. He saw banks, not as impenetrable vaults, but as sprawling, intricate puzzles waiting to be solved. And then, he struck not with a bang, but with a silent, pervasive infiltration. His targets weren't obscure websites. They were the giants. Companies like TJX, the parent company of TJ Maxx and Marshalls, Heartland Payment Systems, one of the largest payment processors in the United States, Dave & Buster's, Barnes & Noble, OfficeMax. Think of the sheer audacity. While ostensibly working with the government, he orchestrated the largest credit card theft in history. Over 170 million credit and debit card numbers siphoned away, not with brute force, but with elegance. The scale of it is almost impossible to comprehend. Imagine 170 million individual lives, their financial identities exposed, all flowing through the hands of one man. It wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was the potential for ruined credit, emptied bank accounts, years of financial distress for countless ordinary people. The cost to businesses ran into the hundreds of millions, perhaps billions, when you factor in investigation, security upgrades, and reputational damage. He lived lavishly, apartments in Miami Beach, wild parties, expensive watches, a constant stream of cash. But perhaps the most chilling aspect wasn't the opulence, but the addiction, not to drugs, or even necessarily to money itself, but to the game, to the challenge, to the feeling of being smarter, faster, always one step ahead. It's a common thread in these stories, this almost artistic obsession with the craft, even when that craft leads to destruction. The fall, when it came, was perhaps inevitable. The net, so intricately cast by Albert himself against others, began to tighten around him. His double life, unsustainable as it was, began to unravel. The Secret Service, the very agency he had assisted, had been tracking him. They found him in Miami, not behind a bank of blinking monitors, but in a mundane hotel room. The man who had moved silently through the digital world was brought back to the stark reality of handcuffs and federal agents. The trials that followed were as complex as his crimes. He pleaded guilty to numerous charges, facing a staggering sentence. In the end, he received 20 years in federal prison. 20 years, a lifetime for a mind that craved freedom, exploration, and the endless expanse of the digital frontier. Albert Gonzalez sits in a cell today, far removed from the glowing screens and the silent hum of servers he once commanded. His story is a stark reminder of the immense power that resides in code, and in the minds that can manipulate it. It's a story not just about crime, but about the allure of the forbidden, the intoxicating thrill of mastering systems, and the profound, often tragic, consequences when brilliance lacks a moral compass. We build our digital world, piece by piece, line by line. We trust it with our lives, our finances, our most intimate details. And in that trust, in that intricate web, there will always be those who see not just connection, but opportunity. Not just information, but power. Albert Gonzalez was the godfather of a new kind of crime, a chilling pioneer. And his shadow, though he is now contained, still stretches long across the digital landscape. A constant whisper of what's possible when the human mind, unmoored from ethical anchors, decides to redefine the rules.
Case closed on this chapter, but the world is full of unsolved questions. Join the investigation by subscribing now.